After their friend dies, three men decide to fulfill their childhood dream by going on a camping expedition for the lost D.B. Cooper bounty.
This is Ryan.
And this is Ashley.
And this is
Ruining Our Childhood.
A weekly podcast where we remove our childhood goggles and put on our adult bifocals to rewatch and review our favorite movies from the past.
That is our thing.
Also, not a podcast where we talk about how bad our childhood was.
Yes.
Correct.
Mom.
Yes.
Or your mom, more specifically.
Yeah.
She didn't birth me, so.
No, but she's your mother-in-law.
Yeah.
So.
My MIL.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't know if that's the thing.
IRL.
Okay.
God.
Anyway, this week we're doing the 2004 classic Without a Paddle. 2004 was a good year.
Yeah.
It was the year somebody graduated high school.
Somebody was a freshman in college.
I was the one that graduated high school.
Yeah, and I was the one that was a freshman in college.
Really?
Yes.
There's only two people in this room.
There's actually 4.
Yes, because this week we have 2 dogs in the room. We thought we'd give them a little try, see if they won't be so barky when they're outside the room. And also, Rupert's our producer, so he should probably be in the room while we're making the show.
Yeah, he usually just barks orders from the living room at us.
He's like, I can't hear you, but I know you're doing it wrong. Whatever you're doing, don't do it. Do something else.
Quinn, on the other hand, she just sleeps. So she could sleep out there, she could sleep in here. She really doesn't care.
No, she doesn't.
Yeah.
She doesn't give an F.
No.
Mostly because she's old, but she's always kind of had that attitude too.
Yeah. No fucks were given by Quinn.
Anyway, why don't you hit us with some 2004 facts?
Okay. First thing about the movie, it was released on August 20th, 2004. So, about 15 years ago now.
Mm-hmm.
Had a budget of $19 million and grossed $70 million at the box office. So, it was a little bit of a hit. Big movies, TV shows, and songs from the year. Big TV shows were CSI, American Idol, and Desperate Housewives. Big songs were Yeah by Usher, Little Jon, and Ludacris. Juvenile and Soulja Slim with Slow Motion.
Ooh.
And the Terror Squad with Lean Back.
So what you're saying is 2004 was a great year for music.
Delightful. All of the songs basically were...
really bad hip-hop?
No joke, the only one on here I don't think that is a hip-hop song is Fantasia, I believe.
I vaguely remember that song.
Yeah. All the other songs were Outkast, had 2 songs.
Outkast isn't bad hip-hop.
Yeah, Snoop Dogg. Usher had 3 different songs.
That makes sense. He was the thing when I was in high school.
Check that. 4 different Usher songs.
Usher had 4 different Usher songs.
4 different hits that year. He was hitting it up. Hitting it up. Ironically, not one of his hits from the year. Popular movies were Shrek 2, Spider-Man 2, and Passion of the Christ.
I've never seen that movie.
Me neither.
I don't know. It just didn't interest me. I knew the story, so
yeah,
I'd rather just watch Jesus Christ Superstars.
They're the same thing.
Yeah, but there's cool music.
Yes.
So,
what were your earliest memories or recollections of the film with a trip down memory road?
I don't think I saw it in theaters. I don't remember if I did, but I remember renting it and watching it and thinking it was hilarious. I love Seth Green, obviously, because of Austin Powers. And I loved Matthew Lillard. I always had a crush on him from, when he was doing romantic comedies. Usually he was either the jerk or comedic relief.
Yeah.
My favorite is She's All That. He's such a douchebag, but he is hilarious. And I didn't really know Dax Shepard other than just from Punk'd.
Yeah.
But I was an 18-year-old girl, so I did like the idea of this movie. Mm-hmm. I didn't really know anything about D.B. Cooper, which is the treasure they're looking for. So I
knew nothing about D.B. Cooper before this
kind of got me interested in, and we're both big fans of true crime,
Mm-hmm.
and especially stories like this where there's no sure identity of DB Cooper, and it's just kind of one of those life's mysteries. And I love mysteries. So, yeah.
For those of you that don't know, DB Cooper hijacked an airplane on November 24th, 1971. And when he hijacked the plane, he requested $200,000. And he jumped out of the back of the plane somewhere between Seattle and Portland, and they have never found him.
They found some of the money.
I think they found $5,000 or $10,000 of it on like a bank of a river.
Oh, yeah.
And so it remains the only unsolved case of air piracy in the United States.
That's so sweet, air piracy.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those. I remember watching the special where the guys were trying to figure it out, and they were so sure this one guy was it. Mm-hmm. And the guy was like kind of a dick and wouldn't talk to them. So it makes you kind of seem guilty when you're like, I don't want to talk to you.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, something tells me there's going to be a deathbed confession from somebody with some, maybe he kept one of the bills, because I know they wrote down the serial numbers to all the bills they gave him, so maybe somebody will pop on one day and be like, yep, here it is.
It's very interesting. I'm excited to see this movie again. I don't really remember anything about it other than there were some hippie girls in a treehouse.
Yeah.
Which I don't think is going to age well.
No.
But we'll see. What was your memories from this movie?
I remember moving into my apartment with, it was my brother and a couple roommates, and I remember the day we moved in, we all went and saw this movie.
Oh.
So there was a group of like the four of us and then some roommates we went and saw it because we knew who Seth Green was. We were fans of his. And like you said, Dax Shepard we knew from Punk'd, and he was pretty much the best part of people getting punked. He was awesome at it.
Very good at his job.
Yeah.
From what I can remember. I haven't seen that show in forever, though.
I always remember him punking Nick Lachey, where he pulls up on like their property and he's like in a crappy RV and he's like, yeah, we're just going to stay out here on your guys' property. And Nick Lachey was none too happy. But he played it pretty cool. Yeah, no. So I remember him from that. Matthew Lillard, I think I just remember him from a little bit of Scream and Scooby-Doo. That was kind of it.
Scream was definitely... Obviously, did we pick him? He's an award winner.
Yeah, he was my worst part of Scream.
But your best part, right?
No, he was my worst part.
He was my best part.
He was your best part.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's been so long. That was like episode 4, and now we're on 22?
Yeah.
23.
23.
Because 22 is coming out this next week.
Yes. Babysitter's Club.
Yep.
Yeah.
For anybody listening to this, it's going to be the week before when Babysitter's Club came out. We're confusing everybody, Ryan.
Yeah, sorry.
Stop it.
Sorry.
What do you think? Do you think it's going to hold up?
I think it will. I'm going to laugh my butt off at this movie. I remember really enjoying it. And now, the older I've gotten, I'm very fascinated with DB Cooper. So that part I'm going to enjoy. And the three main guys, I think, are all hilarious and really talented. So I'm voting for holds up, and it's hilarious.
I'm going to have to go with no. It's not going to hold up. Just because I think it's just, I put it in the category of that bro comedy where it's just a couple of white guys doing crazy things. Mm-hmm. And I know in this movie, it's got a kind of sentimental background, like they're doing it for their friends. So that's, maybe that will help it not hold up, or help it hold up.
Yeah.
But I think there's going to be things that they say that are not cool anymore. And I guess we'll see, though. I hope that it holds up, because I remember liking it as a teenager, but I just don't think our world, there's a place for movies like this in our world anymore without it being a little cringy, you know?
I agree. I'll say this. I think it's going to hold up. However, I will not be surprised in the least if it is a very poor representation of 2004 cinema.
That, and I'm thinking some of the fashion's going to be amazing. It's going to just take me right back to being in high school. What year did Old School come out? 2003?
2003.
So it's going to be, I think it's going to be similar, where there's just going to be that men behaving badly, but it's okay because they're men.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's going to hold up.
All right.
But at the same time, I do like all three of these actors. They're really good actors. Matthew Lillard is in Good Girls. He's kind of a dick, but whatever. Dax Shepard is...
The armchair expert.
And also husband to our favorite person ever.
That is correct, Kristen Bell.
And Seth Green's still amazing, so...
Yeah.
He's a nerd.
I think I've liked everything Seth Green's ever done. So.
Yeah. I feel bad for him because I think he's more recently embraced his nerdiness. Like, since the nerd revolution came out the last, 10 years.
I was listening to him on a podcast, and he talked about he always was the guy wearing Batman shirts to school, and he would get beat up when he was in school. Because back then, it was not okay to be wearing superhero shirts. In the early 90s, when he was in high school.
Yeah.
Nowadays, everybody wears that stuff. And he said he kind of is resentful towards it. The fact that he's like, I got my butt handed to me a lot.
And now it's just a common thing.
Yeah, there's people that are posers that wear it just because they think it's cool and they don't give a crap about superheroes.
That's true.
But
anyway.
Where can you stream?
Oh, yeah. It'd be more amazing if I remembered to do it, and I have it right in front of me.
Yes.
So, Without a Paddle is available on HBO Now or HBO Go. So if you have HBO, it's on their streaming app. And then also it's available to rent on YouTube, Amazon Prime, Google Play, iTunes, and Vudu. So you should be able to find it. We own it.
Yes, we do.
And apparently it's playing, because if I scroll down, it says on TV soon. It's playing the next 5 days on various HBO channels. So you should be able to catch it somewhere.
So HBO's celebrating the 15th anniversary of the movie.
I just want to say, I think this might be the lowest Rotten Tomatoes score we've had in a movie.
Really?
14%.
Wow.
But the audience score is 68. So it's one of those things where the critics didn't get it. I think critics are more lenient these days. Because if you think about it, a lot of the critics are probably our age, maybe a little older. I think back in the day, even 10, 15 years ago, critics were like, can it win an Oscar? No, then it's 10% for me, or thumbs down. I feel like people try to take movies for what they are. This movie is not trying to win an Oscar, it's just trying to entertain people.
And that's why I wish maybe critics would just go with that theory of, is this award season? Are these movies trying to win Golden Globes and Academy Awards? Or is this a summer movie that is just supposed to be fun and entertaining?
Or is there anything redeeming about this movie?
Yeah.
Are parts funny? Did you laugh?
Exactly.
Did you cry?
Apparently, despite the bad CineScore or Rotten Tomatoes score, it did quite well.
That's true. But maybe we just had shittier standards in 2004 as a society.
I do not.
We were wearing really low cut jeans, and I barely had any eyebrows. So,
oh yeah,
bad decisions were made by all.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, we'll go ahead and hit the pause and come back and talk about Without a Paddle.
Okay, and we're back. We just finished watching Without a Paddle. And we're going to go ahead and break down our movie. Like we always do. With our categories. I like how sad you sounded when you said that.
I don't feel like the sentence makes sense when you say, like we always do, with our categories. It sounds so generic. Even though our categories aren't generic so much. But it just sounds like we're making it up as we go along. With our categories, which we do have.
We have them, I assure you.
We're not pretending like we have categories.
We have them.
Yeah.
We're going to go ahead and use our satellite cell phone to make a phone call and talk about some technology.
Yeah?
Yes.
Or you could have made a joke about how he had to pull the satellite phone out of bear feces at the end of the movie.
Gross. So gross.
It was a little gross.
Yeah. There was a lot of feces in this movie. There
was, and we'll talk about that.
Yes.
But right now we should talk about technology, because poop isn't technology.
No. First one I noticed was the three main stars are Seth Green, Matthew Lillard, and Dax Shepard.
Right.
And Seth Green's character Dan, he has a satellite cell phone with the digital version of the Indiana Jones theme song, which I thought was pretty awesome. Because I don't know that people have the
chimey ringtones anymore.
Really, yeah.
Yeah, I noted that because I do remember that was a thing when I first had a cell phone, was finding a chimey song. Or I remember when you could buy actual snippets of songs for your ringtone, which I think you can still do.
You probably still can. And it was a big thing to have the ringback tone.
Yes.
So when you would call someone, it would play a song rather than listening to an actual ring.
Yeah.
Not a
Some
thing
people
anymore.
still have that, though. Oh. Having worked in a call center, people still have that.
I could see my brother having that still. Sorry, Jay. You would have that.
He's like, I don't have that.
I got rid of mine 8 years ago.
You're going to get a text message in 2 weeks, and it's going to say, what are you talking about? I don't have a chime or ringback tone.
Ringback tone? I had Star Wars for a little while. I got rid of it.
Why is Jason Napoleon Dynamite all of a sudden?
I don't know. Sorry, Jason.
The other thing I noticed that I forgot to note, but I was just thinking about it because I was thinking about the end of the movie, was the amount of times an answering machine was featured in this movie.
Yes.
And it was all to do with Matthew Lillard's character and his girlfriend, because I honestly don't really know what his problem was, other than he doesn't like his job. He doesn't really like his wife. But he doesn't have anything wrong in his life. Whereas I think the other two characters kind of do.
Yeah.
They have real problems when he's just kind of bored because he's going down this path of, this is your job, you have a girlfriend, this is your life.
Yeah.
I guess I get that, but at the same time, I'm like, stop complaining, dude.
Yeah. The other thing I did notice was when the three guys are kind of on their excursion trying to find D.B. Cooper's money, they come across the hillbillies that are running a massive pot farm.
Yes.
And they had a huge boom box, but it really looked like Lloyd Dobler should have been holding it over his head while I was playing some Peter Gabriel. Like, that's the type of boombox they had.
Well, maybe they, haven't updated their technology.
Well, they were living out in the middle of the woods.
Yeah.
So it does kind of make sense.
And they're a small hick town, which I don't know. If anybody's from Oregon, please let me know. But do people have southern accents in Oregon? Because a lot of people in this movie do have
an excellent point.
The only one that kind of made sense, because you don't really know where he's from, is Burt Reynolds' character.
Yeah, Del.
Yeah. You don't know his origin story, really.
Oh, but there was legit hillbillies with southern accents.
And then sheriffs.
The sheriff.
Maybe they moved from somewhere south.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, because I feel like people growing up in an area that had a rural community.
Yeah.
I guess people do have draws, but draws. But they were a little over the top in this movie. No. Was there any other technology? We're really getting off topic.
When they busted out the satellite cell phone, I noticed there was a payphone.
Yes.
Like a phone booth.
Matthew Lillard was calling his girlfriend.
Yeah. But that was the only ones that I noticed. It wasn't too egregious.
Yeah, no. I think it helps that it is set in the woods primarily, so there's not going to be a lot of technology because they're trying to really rough it.
Yeah.
And be men.
Yeah.
It's not the point of the movie. It's them trying to find a treasure, but still.
Yeah. No. But yeah, it wasn't... Considering we were really making a massive shift in technology in that time period, and we became a very reliant society on technology, there wasn't a ton of it. But like you said, a lot of it centered in the woods. So it wouldn't make sense if they whipped out laptops and stuff while they were out there.
That's true. Plus the laptops in 2004 were very thick. Not a necessity in the middle of the woods.
No, definitely not.
Did you see any DVD special features or previews? Because there were quite a few for me.
There was some sweet previews. The Sky Captain of the World of Tomorrow preview, which is a movie that I had totally forgot existed.
Right?
But it looked awful.
So much CGI.
Yes.
I vaguely remember the movie because I was pretty into Jude Law at the time.
As you should be. That is a beautiful man.
He is. But I don't remember ever seeing that movie, and I think the concept looked cool. Mm-hmm. It's kind of...
Almost
spacey.
Yeah, like a space noir.
Yeah, but
So much green screen and
so
CGI.
much green screen, and it's just probably one of those movies where like we have this technology. We've said it a lot in this podcast. Just because you have the technology doesn't mean you need to go overboard and use it so much, because in 15 years people are gonna look back and go, why? Just, why?
Why?
I don't know if I could ever watch that movie because it's so bad. The preview looks so bad. I don't even know what it's about because I was so distracted by all of the CGI.
Yeah, it looked awful.
But
what other ones did you notice?
I did like the Coach Carter.
Oh.
Which I do remember that movie. I've seen it. It has Samuel L. Jackson. Apparently Channing Tatum's in it. Not a big part. He wasn't listed in... I think it was even before Step Up, which was his kind of breakout role, I guess. And it had Ashanti, and she was the third person named. So, good job, 2004, because Ashanti was the star of a movie.
Yeah.
I loved Ashanti, though.
Yeah, that's kind of probably the end of her popularity.
Happy is still such a great song when you turn it on. I think it is. It was my jam.
I don't know that I know that song. I'm sure I would know it if I heard it.
It was like one of her 2 hits.
Okay. I wasn't a huge Ashanti fan.
Well, how dare you?
I apologize.
How dare you? Anyway. Oh, and also Team America.
Yes.
Which might need to go on the short list of movies because I haven't seen it since 2004.
That's probably the last time I saw it. I noticed, not so much the special, any of the trailers, the movie Without a Pedal had an amazing soundtrack.
Yeah.
It was a lot of good songs.
I did note that it was a good mixture of 2004 hits and classic rock. They didn't go too overboard on whatever was hip in 2004, which was a good thing.
Yeah, because there was a Rod Stewart cover and Beach Boys and Blind Melon and some Dr. Dre and Culture Club, but then they also had Bubba Sparks.
Yes.
And
was that who sung that song?
Yes.
The one that they played at the end and in the middle? Okay.
There
We're trying to figure it out.
2 Bubba Sparks songs on the soundtrack.
What is Bubba Sparks doing these days?
Out with his fake grill and just... are you literally Googling him at the moment?
No, I was writing something else down for later that
okay.
you reminded me.
Oh, okay.
Did you have any other notes on our technology category?
No, I did not.
Okay, we can move on to kids would call it a throwback. We call it the prime of our teens, which literally this movie was the prime of our teens.
Yes, yes.
Sure, later teens, but more stuff that I can remember, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
And when we started this movie, I realized I must have seen it more than once because I remembered lines of the movie. Mm-hmm. I remembered clear plot points. It just all came flooding back.
It all came back to me.
Did you notice any fashion choices?
One of the first things I noticed, and it was a huge little trend for a while, was Dax Shepard's character was wearing a straw cowboy hat.
Yeah.
At the very beginning.
When he's sleeping with the lady.
Yeah. And I remember that was a big thing. It was trendy to wear a straw cowboy hat where the brim was really rolled in and stuff. He looked like Bret Michaels, I guess. Yeah.
There's times where I'll be deep into IMDb, as I do sometimes. You just start clicking on people's things and looking at like all their pictures. And there's so many people from the red carpet from early 2000s where they're wearing that shit. And it's so amazing to me because I feel like for the most part people dress pretty classy now to go to events. Between the late 90s and mid 2000s it was like this cheese factor, like wearing really casual things. Everybody remembers the denim suits that
Justin and Brittany wore.
Yes. To me that's just essential 2000s cheese factor. Or a lot of girls were wearing like the really low riding jeans and then with the thong showing.
Yep.
Why? Why did we do that? I never did it. I couldn't pull it off. But I'm just saying as a society, why did we do that?
I will admit this because my brothers will call me out on it. I had a straw cowboy hat.
Oh my God, of course you did.
Yeah.
There's things I find out about you.
I did not
that-
wear it. I wore it like one time, and it was on a road trip.
Did you wear it? And then you're like, I can't pull this
Yes,
off.
we wore them on a road trip that the three of us took, but I never wore them. Never wore it to like a movie or out, ever. Yeah, I just know I would get a text message after this.
I had a lot of hats that I thought were a good idea at the time, and I'd wear them around the house. And then I'd be like, I'm not a hat person. I can't pull this off. Like, I had one of the newsboy caps.
Oh.
Kind of, that were striped, and it had a flower on it. It was very flashy, and it was 2003.
Mm-hmm.
So, it was very in. I couldn't pull it off. I have a big head, too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you do.
Thank you.
Yes.
What about offensive jokes or dated references?
There was a quite offensive portion where the three guys, Dax, Seth, and Matthew Lillard, are running through the pot farm, and the farm is on fire. So they're inhaling in a lot of the marijuana, and the hillbillies are chasing them, and they realize that they are using a laser scope on them.
Yeah.
And Dax Shepard turns and gets the scope lined up on his forehead, and then starts talking in an Indian accent.
Yes. And saying something about, I'll give you 5 goats for your daughter's hand in marriage.
I did not realize that's what he was saying, which makes it even worse.
Yes. Can we just chalk it up to the fact that he was high and a soap? I don't know. His character was pretty out there. Mm-hmm. And he was not afraid to say offensive things. But I will say overall, this movie did not have as many offensive things in it. I was waiting for more. Even the first scene that he was in, when he's sleeping with a girl and her boyfriend comes home, I'm using air quotes because
turned out it was a girlfriend.
Yeah, Tony is a girl, and he's trying to make it a threesome, but I liked that the girl scratched him and then kicked him.
And he went flying.
I did like that, because if it was American Pie, the girl would be like, yeah, let's do it. Even though I'm clearly into girls, I'll have sex with you, random male.
Yes.
But anyway.
Did you have any other ones? As far as offensive?
Not so much offensive. That was pretty much the only one that I felt, other than the whole scene where they had to huddle for warmth, and they really had to make it a big deal because they played Bump and Grind.
Yeah.
And it's just really kind of homophobic, but it was definitely a part I blocked out.
Yeah.
I must have blacked out. I didn't remember seeing the movie before.
it, and I'm kind of surprised I didn't remember it, because the guy starts, Matthew Lillard is whispering stuff in Seth Green's ear about...
And he's in the middle. Seth Green is in the middle, and Dax is in front of him.
Basically trying to remind him of the, girls they saw earlier that day, so he would get an erection and poke the other guy that they're kind of spooning in.
I will say, even though Dax's characters, whose name is Tom, did have a crazy, like, I'm gonna throw up because I touched your boner.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm like, well, it's kind of creepy to have somebody's boner on you when you don't want to have their boner on you, whether you're attracted to that sex or not.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's true.
That wasn't too bad. It was just the fact that they had to play music and they were just like, oh, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
It's either huddle up with your best friend that you've known for 20-something years or die.
Yeah.
It's really not that bad.
Hypothermia or cuddling your buddy since childhood. I'm going to cuddle.
Yeah.
I don't care.
You're good at cuddling.
Yeah. That's what I'm known for.
If anybody wants to know. Ryan's great at cuddling. I did like the montage at the beginning of the movie showing how, their youth. There was a lot of references.
Yes.
Like Indiana Jones and Ghostbusters, which reminded me of Stranger Things.
When they got up into their little clubhouse after their friend had died and they were at the funeral, they go up into the clubhouse and they find their old, I guess for lack of a better term, a treasure chest that they had agreed they would not open until they found D.B. Cooper's money.
Correct.
So it had their most valuable possessions, which consisted of a C-3PO action figure, a Brian Bosworth rookie card. Mm-hmm. It had their Indiana Jones compass, and a sweet cassette tape where they recorded the intros to the songs.
Which I totally did as a kid.
Oh, I believe it.
We loved it. Me and my brother did that, but then it turned into like we would just have a radio show. And then me and my friends kind of turned it into making prank calls and figuring out how to record them. Mm-hmm. So,
did you guys give yourself DJ names?
Yeah, but I don't remember what it was.
You weren't DJ Jazzy Ashley?
No, I'm pretty sure I was just this is DJ Ashley. Like, it wasn't very inventive.
Sad.
I'm sure somebody else would remember, like my brother or
I was gonna say, I'm
my
gonna ask
couple
your
friends
brother
that we
if he
did
had
it
a
with.
Sweet name. Yeah.
He'd
'Cause he
probably
would
be
give
like, I
himself-
don't remember that at all, Ashley.
But your brother would give himself a hilarious name. He'd be like, DJ Big Butt.
Big Butt?
That's what your brother would call himself.
Now we have to call him DJ Big Butt all the rest of his life.
Exactly.
And the other thing I noticed, when they said, I never thought I'd be so happy to hear something that sounds like Creed. It was Tom. When they were lost in the woods, they just crashed their canoe over a waterfall, and they didn't have anything.
Yeah, they had no supplies
And
left.
they heard music, and it was the hillbillies that were
jamming out to some scat stab.
yeah.
Man, that dates it though.
Yeah, no, the Creed
Frickin'
reference
Creed.
dates it
Ugh.
a lot.
Yeah.
And then the other thing, I honestly think that was it. I know I was expecting some offensive things, and a lot of movies in the early 2000s and before that time were a little offensive to women at times. But there was a point where they do meet the two girls in the tree that are hippies.
Yeah.
And the one girl has hairy legs. And I was waiting for them to make a bigger deal about it.
They didn't.
They didn't, but I didn't know if they were trying to show, like, that Dan, Seth Green's character, is so desperate for love that he would stoop to hooking up with a girl with hairy legs.
Yeah.
But they didn't really, like, the guys didn't really make jokes about it, the other two, so I was preparing myself like, oh, I can't wait to see what they say about this, because
And they didn't
that's
do
a
it.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they didn't,
So
so,
surprising.
yeah. Do you want to move on to our next category? Category.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
It's a category we like to call Well, Hello There. It's our category where we talk about any cameos of famous or recognizable actors or actresses that we forgot were in the film. Who did you notice?
The first person I noticed was Bonnie Somerville.
Mm-hmm.
She plays Jerry's girlfriend, Matthew Lillard's girlfriend, Denise. And she's Mona from Friends.
Yes.
And she was in a couple of movies that I liked when I was younger. And she's a singer, too.
Oh.
Yeah. I think she dated Zach Braff, and he put her on one of his soundtracks.
One of the people I noticed was Scott Adist. I think is how you say his name, or Adist. I just remember him from 30 Rock. He was one of the main people in 30 Rock with Tina Fey. And,
He was in the writer's room.
Yeah.
I can't remember his character's name, but Pete.
Pete
Hornberger.
That was somebody I remembered.
Yeah. He was the guy that takes Seth Green's parking spot at his job.
Yeah.
Because he's a doctor. And
I just like when he goes, "Is your name on it?" And I was like, "Yeah, actually, it says it right there, Dr. Mott. I'm Dr. Mott."
but then he just takes the thing at sign, and it was silly, but it just showed that Seth Green's character is kind of a pushover a little bit, little bit of a scaredy cat. But the other person that I noticed was Ethan Suplee.
Yes,
who is from Frankie from Boy Meets World.
That is exactly who I remember.
And he's from, he was more recently in Santa Clarita Diet. Mm-hmm. And he plays one of the hillbillies.
And I think he was one of the main people on My Name is Earl.
Yes, yeah.
And then I saw Rachel Blanchard, who I remember she was Cher
on the Clueless
TV show. And she played one of the hippie girls, specifically the one with the super hairy legs.
Yes. Because they didn't show if the other girl had them or not.
No.
And she was in Flight of the Conchords.
Yes.
She was the
business time, I think, episode.
Yeah, the business time episode. I mean, she dated Jermaine for a couple episodes.
Yeah.
And then breaks up with him for an Australian guy.
Yes.
And they get so mad. I love that show.
Yeah.
And then who else? The other hippie tree girl was an actress named Christina Moore. Mm-hmm. And she was in True Blood. And she's been in a bunch of stuff. Like, she looked familiar.
Yeah, she did look very familiar.
And then the other hillbilly was Anthony Benrubi. Mm-hmm. And he's from Parker Lewis Can't Lose.
Oh, that is one of your jams.
Yeah, I love that show. And ER.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure he played one of the nurses. Or like the person that would be at the front desk all the time.
Mm-hmm. And then the last person, we kind of talked about him a minute ago. He played Del Knox, was superstar, famous actor Burt Reynolds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't list him because I saw his name in the credits and then I remembered that he was in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Quite a few people.
Yeah.
And some notable 90s people.
Mm-hmm.
But do you want to move on?
Yes.
Okay. Hey guys, we want to talk to you a little bit about the Podcoin app.
Yes! The Podcoin app. It pays you to listen to Ruining Our Childhood, as well as your other favorite podcasts. You can use the Podcoin you earn to claim gift cards for some of your favorite stores.
What? Starbucks?
Check.
Amazon?
Correct.
Target. Seriously, guys, this is pretty legit. Join the Podcoin app today on iPhone or Android, and I said join, but I meant download.
You've got to download
and
it.
use code RUINING to get 300 Podcoin just for signing up.
That's 300 Podcoin for using RUINING.
That's how you spell ruining, just in case you don't know that.
Yes.
So if you're basically listening to podcasts all day anyways while you're working or driving or do anything, might as well make some money off the deal. Am I right?
Yeah, totally. I mean, free coffee for something you're already doing sounds fantastic.
It does sound fantastic.
Take a shot.
So go give the Podcoin app a try today. And also don't forget to listen to Ruining Our Childhood and make some money, guys.
Okay.
Bye. The next category is called Is It Even Good? And this is where we talk about the plot and the casting choices, and then we list our funniest and cringiest moments of the movie. What did you think about the plot overall?
I thought the plot was believable, that there was a rush of people that went out searching for D.B. Cooper's money.
Right.
So that I find believable that these kids maybe had an obsession with D.B. Cooper and wanted to go find his money. Some of the stuff they encounter during their journey, that wasn't very believable.
A little zany.
Yeah. But I thought it was good. It wasn't too bad.
I do think it was believable in the sense that now that we're at this age where we're kind of, I guess, middle-aged, or hopefully a little younger than middle-aged, but that whole sense of wanting to relive their youth and do something amazing because they kind of feel stuck in their lives. One of them feels kind of like a failure. The one feels stuck in his kind of monotonous life, and the other one just doesn't feel like he's done anything brave ever.
Yeah.
So I see that. I do like the fact that they did this as a group of childhood friends that wanted to pay homage to their friend that passed away. So I did like that part. But yeah, it's like a movie that started off really good and then it kind of veers into this like zany, all this crazy shit happens and then it ends pretty good.
Yeah.
It's weird. And also kind of just addresses how sometimes your childhood friends, if you met them today, you wouldn't really necessarily be friends with them.
That's a very good point because
they're all so different.
Yeah, the four of them went down very, very different paths.
Yeah, but I overall I did like the plot and the idea of it. What did you think of the casting choices?
I liked the casting specifically of the three main guys. I thought they ended up having a ton of chemistry, and I'm very surprised there wasn't a sequel made because it seemed like the movie was successful. And I want to say there was like a Without a Paddle Presents or some crappy kind of...
I think there was.
Yeah.
You know, there was a time where in the mid-90s where I feel like they made so many straight-to-DVD sequels of movies like American Pie and Van Wilder.
Yeah. And I just looked it up, and there was. It was called Without a Paddle, Nature's Calling.
And what was it about?
Not one of the original people were back in the movie. It's two childhood friends reunited years later to take part in an unusual quest that involves traveling into the woods in search of Ben's high school sweetheart.
So it's
not the same characters.
But they say Without a Paddle because it's men going into the woods.
Yep.
It has nothing to do with D.B. Cooper.
Nope. It wasn't the same guys and just different people playing them. It's just...
Oh, it did have the lead character is Oliver James, who was in What a Girl Wants with Amanda Bynes.
Oh.
And he was in something else. Oh.
Raise Your Voice.
Raise Your Voice with Hilary Duff. Yeah.
I wish they would have did a sequel with the main guys, because I thought the three of them had a ton of chemistry and are really just funny guys.
Yeah.
It's kind of disappointing that they went that route.
I agree. They all were good, and they were really believable to be friends. So I did like their whole chemistry for sure.
Definitely.
What was your funniest line?
My funniest part was at the very beginning when their friend Billy has died, and Seth Green and Matthew Lillard are at the funeral, and there's a bunch of people at the funeral, and then Dax Shepard shows up, and he's late, and he's driving his motorcycle around headstones, and he's like, "Is that Billy's funeral? Is that his corpse?" And nobody's answering him, and he recognizes his two buddies' backs, and he's like, "Tom,
Jerry,
is that you?" And he turns around and he's like, "Yeah, hi, Tom." And then he's like, "Dan, is that you?" And he turns around and he's like, "Yeah." And they're like trying to motion him just to come over here. So, where'd you guys park? It was really stupid and over to the top, but it made me laugh.
I listed that as my funniest moment, but I did have a backup.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, that one was hilarious. And that's why I thought like the first part of the movie was really funny.
Mm-hmm.
Was because of that part, and then a part when they go into the town, which I'm sure we'll discuss. But my favorite one where I just kind of cracked up was when they had gotten to the point where they were getting onto the river.
Mm-hmm.
There's a Native American guy who's helping them with their canoe and helping them set up. And Jerry, Matthew Lillard's character, breaks a bottle to christen the boat. And he's like, "Thanks for bringing glass where my kids play." It was just funny because he said it so deadpan, and they're like, "Oh, sorry."
And then the other one that just had me cracking up was when the sheriff pulls up on them when they've just gotten to the town. They haven't started their excursion at all. The sheriff says something to him, and then Dax Shepard's response is, "We're from UPS, and it looks like someone ordered a set of teeth," because the sheriff was missing significant teeth.
Yeah. They made a lot of teeth jokes.
Yeah, it was very well done.
Yeah, that was good. What was your cringiest line or moment?
I think we might have the same cringiest moment, and that was when the hillbillies find Tom, Dan, and Jerry up in a tree with the two hippie girls, and to fight them off, the hippies and them are throwing bags of feces at the hillbillies.
You are correct. That is what I put. And it's funny because I think most picks that we do for this category are usually stuff that we find kind of outdated or offensive. And it's like cringy, like, "Ooh, don't say that."
Yeah.
But this time it was literally because it was just poop, which it was probably like pudding for all I know. Because it was that consistency. I was like, get somebody some fiber or something because those girls are not eating a correct diet. But yeah, it was gross.
Yes, yeah.
I can't do poop, man.
No.
Even fake movie poop. It's just not.
I then start thinking about it, and I think of what that smelled like. And they're getting hit in the face with it. And you're like,
even though they're potential murderers.
Yeah. You don't gotta throw poop out. I mean, just run away from them.
I think that's the adult mind in saying those things, because I'm sure when we were children, we're like, haha, poop.
Yeah.
And it's gross, but it's like a funny gross. But now I'm like, no, that's just gross.
It's just disgusting.
Don't do that. Don't keep showing it.
Yeah.
So, did you have any other notes? Because I had a couple.
I did not.
Actually, my two notes were things I already addressed about the Southern accent and recording radio shows. So, oh no, I have one more. Towards the end of the movie, spoiler alert, they find D.B. Cooper's body.
Correct.
After they hang out with Del, Burt Reynolds' character, for a while because he's his partner.
Yeah, he was supposed to go up into the woods and meet DB and help him navigate down.
Which makes
the
sense
mountain.
if that was a true thing that happened, because I think people always question if there was more than one person that planned this thing.
Which would explain why the money never turned up. Maybe that person, they found DB's dead body and took the money.
Or maybe they found DB fine and they escaped and they're living happily ever after.
Which, from that special we watched, is very, very good possibility.
Yeah. I feel like this movie really missed the mark on making Goonie references.
That's an excellent point.
It's a movie set in Oregon.
Correct.
They're looking for a treasure.
Absolutely.
And, you know, they're childhood best friends, which, I mean, obviously, Goonies, they were actually children, but I think they could have made a lot of more Goonie references. Instead, they went with Indiana Jones, which, obviously, he's adventurous and he's always looking for treasure and stuff. But I feel like they missed the mark, because also, when they did find D.B. Cooper's body, they were kind of talking to him, kind of like how Mikey was talking to One-Eye Willie.
Yeah,
and it was a corpse, and they were talking about, oh, it sucks that he had to die this way. And they were being very, it was like a deep moment.
Yeah, that's an excellent point.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Just saying. Missed the mark.
They did. They did.
Anyway, should we move on?
Yes, we shall.
Okay.
As always, on Ruining Our Childhood, it is award season. We give out 2 awards. The first is the valedictorian. I can never say that word. Valedictorian to the Nicolas Cage Online School of Bad Acting. Who did you give your award to?
So having this movie set the way it's set, it's really hard to pick from because it centers mostly around the 3 guys. And I thought they all did a really good job, so I didn't want to pick any of them.
No.
And I liked the hillbillies. I thought they were good.
Mm-hmm.
They were threatening and hillbilly-ish. Even though whenever I see Frankie, I just think of him as being a really nice guy. Just cursed with being a big guy that looks mean.
Yeah.
I gave it to both the hippie girls, Rachel Blanchard and Christina Moore, because I just thought their characters were so one-dimensional and honestly just unnecessary to the plot, other than it was a way for the guys to get naked, so then they would eventually have to do the offensive, I'm not gay, but we need a huddle for warmth thing. And the other part, I guess, is that Dan finally gets some action.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point. That part was completely unnecessary to the plot.
Yeah. When I was a kid, I remember watching that movie, or a kid, 18, and thinking I liked the fact that there was this big tree house.
Yeah.
And they were living there. I'm like, I would love to do that.
It's a pretty sweet tree house.
Yeah, but I just think they were really touchy-feely, and they were just that, here's 2 hot girls. We just need to throw 2 hot girls in this movie.
Yeah.
To make it a real bro comedy, you know?
Yeah, gotta drive it home.
No, you can focus on the characters. Their whole plot is perfectly fine.
Yeah.
You know?
This was unnecessary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who was yours?
I gave it to Ray Baker, and he was the actor that plays the sheriff.
Okay.
And other than him having a messed up grill that amounted to a funny joke, I thought he was very unnecessary, and you brought up an excellent point. He has a southern draw, but he's a sheriff in the woods of Oregon.
Yeah.
And my issue was, it was a stereotypical television/movie sheriff.
Mm-hmm.
All of them, for whatever reason, are always the same. They have a southern draw. They always are picking on your heroes. And it's just, they're always up to no good.
But are they always drug lords?
He brought that to it.
Yeah.
He was a pot farmer.
But he wasn't, but you only see him in that one scene.
Yeah.
And it was a twist. But it
wasn't
a very good
coming.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
No, it would have been a bigger twist is if Burt Reynolds was the boss or something.
That would have been a better curveball.
But
and I just felt like they could have got somebody better to play the sheriff.
Yeah, he's kind of generic looking.
That was a role kind of designed for a nice cameo of somebody that was pretty famous, and you don't get it.
Because he's not in much of the movie.
Yeah, he's in 2 scenes. And
that's a good pick.
Yeah.
I like that pick.
That's why I gave it to him.
I didn't even barely remember him, so I guess that's why it's a good pick.
Mm-hmm.
We can move on to the Thomas J. Hanks Award for Exceptional Acting.
Yes.
Who was your pick?
I gave it to my boy, Dax Shepard. I kind of went back and forth between him and Seth Green, and you brought up a good point. The 3 main guys were all really good and entertaining. But he was my favorite, and he made me laugh the most. So that's why I picked his. Also, I always kind of go, could somebody else play it? I'm sure somebody else might have been able to play it, but it's hard to picture somebody else playing that character.
That's true.
So I really enjoyed him, and
he definitely had more one-liners than anybody else did. He was just funny.
Yeah, he was like the screwball buddy. So
he was the one that was the screw-up.
Yeah.
That still doesn't have his life together. So, because I did kind of write notes for each of them where I was like, Dan, Seth Green's character, he's successful, but he doesn't feel like he gets respect in his life. He's lonely. Mm-hmm. And then Jerry apparently hates his job and everything that's good in his life because it's not interesting enough.
Yeah.
And yeah, then Tom was
the screw up.
Who also, I feel like we know people in the world that he always had to chime in like, I've done that before.
Yes.
He was an exaggerated liar. He's like, we'll be fine. We've done River Rapids before. And then they're like,
navigated worse rivers than this.
yeah, because it made him sound more interesting. But then he has never really done that much.
No.
And my pick was Seth Green because I felt like I related to his character the most, being he was the most voice of reason out of all the characters. And then the fact that he was scared of everything, because that would totally be me in all those situations. But then I also liked that he, as like a coping mechanism, he liked to pretend he was in Star Wars, or he'd do the C-3PO voice.
And he does an amazing
He does.
C-3PO.
He does a very good one. And I felt like his character had most growth because he learned to not be so afraid of everything.
Yeah.
And when his friends needed help, even though Matthew Lillard did too at the very end, I guess I never saw Matthew Lillard's character being like, well, he never stands up for his friends. He was perfectly fine, but Seth Green was the type that was like, no, that's too risky.
Yeah.
And then he
was easily my second favorite part. He was really good, and
has excellent rapping skills.
Yeah. He's just a crazy talented guy. I love Seth Green.
Yeah.
He's amazing.
He's good. So, should we decide, does this movie hold up?
I says it did.
I
say it did. I didn't think it was as funny as I remembered, but at the same time, it wasn't cringy to me. It was still a fun movie. There were some parts, like you said, that are pretty unnecessary, but I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think I was really expecting over masculinity to the 10th degree, and there wasn't really that, because I think every character had their faults, but good qualities as well, like any human being should have. And I think it was still funny and entertaining, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I would definitely probably watch it again if we had nothing else going on in our lives.
Yeah, it wasn't disappointing. It was funny and enjoyable.
Yeah,
good.
I agree. So, the end.
Yes. We never know how to end these.
I know. Maybe one day.
I mean, we're 23 episodes in and we haven't figured it out, so...
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
It's just our thing. And I'm sure it's a lot of podcast thing, because it's just like, okay, we've sat here and talked for an hour. Now what do we do?
We always ask that they throw us a like and subscribe.
Who's they? I laughed so hard that I hit the
We always
microphone.
ask that our listeners throw us a like and subscribe.
That's
on
you who's listening right
iTunes.
now, in case you don't know.
Yes.
Ryan doesn't want to talk to you directly.
No. I
He
would.
hates you.
No, I don't. How dare you?
And talk to them like they're human beings.
Please throw us a like and subscribe on iTunes.
And also, check out our Facebook and Instagram at Ruining Our Childhood, because we put stuff up on there, and we let you know when new episodes are available, and...
I say next week we bring back the poll.
Maybe.
Yeah.
We'll
throw a
see.
poll up there.
I do want to do other things with it.
Okay.
You know, I'm working on some stuff. Get
Okay.
off my back, Ryan.
Not on your back.
Not literally, but...
I'm sitting down in a chair, Ashley. Across the table from you.
Okay, so anyway. And Twitter at ROC Movie Podcast.
Yes.
I'm going to say it normal, because whenever you say it weird, it's really hard to understand you.
Okay. ROC Movie Podcast.
Yes.
I said movie like movie phone.
That's fine, but usually you're like, at ROC Movie Podcast.
Oh,
And then
yeah.
and then it's really hard to hear with the microphone. And...
I usually do say, I said doo-doo. I usually do say podcast.
Let's just start this whole thing over.
And on Instagram, at Ruining Our Childhood.
I already said Instagram.
Oh.
I already did Facebook and Instagram.
Oh. Okay. Well, don't go there twice, guys.
Nobody's going there anyway, let's be honest. We only have 89 followers on Instagram.
That's still pretty good.
No, I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
I've come to terms with it.
Me and my therapist talk about it.
Yes.
We're working it out.
But anyway, thank you so much for listening, guys. We really appreciate it, and hope to see you soon.
Bye.
And by see you, I mean...
Hope you listen soon.
I'm not gonna stalk you. I'm sorry. Okay, bye.
Bye.